Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Passing the Crown with me, John Gotti. I am joined by, I would like to say, she's probably the British Drita Devanzo. She is the ultimate mob wife. She is the Essex Bad Girl with a heart of gold. I absolutely love and adore her, and I'm really excited to hear the many stories of the beautiful Neah Inspired. Hello.
Hey, thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome. It's about bloody time.
I know, right? Love it. Yeah, I'm really great. Everything's really great. Yeah, so it's all good. Yeah.
Good, fantastic. So I'm really happy that you joined us because I've got so many questions.
Oh, don't. Oh, here we go. I'm even a solicitor. No,
Nothing that's going to catch you out.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
You don't have to answer. But it would make great TV if you do.
Yeah, no, for sure. Let's do it. Let's do it.
So I just want to jump straight in. Talk to me a bit about why people probably know you.
People probably know me from James English, Essex Bad Girl. Yeah, so I kind of went away for a long time, and then from that I done a couple of TikToks, went pretty huge, and then from then quite a lot of people contacted James English, so we wanted to kind of hear more about the rest of her story. Went on James English, and it was like a kind of tell all my side, my life, and it just blew up, and yeah.
So just for a little bit of backstory, I guess you say you went away for a little bit, not like Butlins.
No, unfortunately not.
No.
There was days where it was like that, but no, there wasn't no red coats.
No, okay.
No. Is it red coats?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So no, it wasn't that fun.
Yeah. So we'll come back to your 12-year stretch a little bit, but let's talk about the first time. So what happened? Because this is one of my favourite stories.
Oh, shut up.
By the way, the one thing that I want to do is, because I know what everyone's like, they're sitting at home now going, oh, I'm glorifying all of this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, but I also don't care enough. Everyone is human, and everyone does what they do, makes decisions, and the outcomes is something that they deal with.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Ultimately, we're not going to sit here and cry about it.
For sure. And that's one thing I say as well now. I say, I'm not, whatever I do, I'm not going to ever dispute anything that I've been through, but I'm also not out here trying to glamorise it.
Yeah.
Which, ultimately, I'm not trying to glamorise anything, but I'm not going to dispute it or get to a point in my life where I say, start to deny things or whatever, because then what kind of credibility am I going to have for where I'm at and what I'm doing if I kind of try and, take out parts of my past.
It's not a fairy tale, is it? And I think that's the other thing is people go, oh, she's glamorising it and she's doing it and she's saying, well, okay, then I'll pretend that the big wicked witch was here and just, and she gave me a rotten apple. Like, there's no point, the truth is the truth.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing I'm known for. Yeah. I'm raw, I'm real, I'm honest. You either like me or you don't. Either way, I don't really care. If you like me, then great. If you don't, I'm not asked. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be less of me to make people feel more.
Have you always been like that? Has that always been
I've always been like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even from a youngster?
I've always I've always been like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very what you see is what you get.
Yeah, kind of. I grew up in kind of a bit of a chaotic lifestyle. I've got 3 older brothers, and they've always kind of taught me. They always kind of taught me to just, I was the princess. I had 3 older brothers, so I was always kind of, I was like the little princess, and I've always kind of told to be this way, don't be that way, and I just embrace who I am, and I just don't. Yeah, I just say what I think. What you see is what you get. I do what I say what I do, and yeah. And some people don't like me for it. Loads of people love me for it. So yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Absolutely, and I think that I can relate a little bit on that. But more people dislike me than like me.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm fine with that.
Straight.
Yeah, I am absolutely fine with that. Yeah. Like I said to therapy today before I got here. I said to my therapist, I said, I'm very self-aware that it's like a 60-40 with me. Like 60% don't like me, 40% do.
Why do you think that is?
I think I'm a very acquired taste, but you add the ADHD to that.
Yeah.
Where I get over attached, I get overwhelmed, I get over emotional, all the overs. I get all of that.
Yeah, we've got all of that.
Then it takes a kind of a strong people to be friends with me, in a relationship with me, all of that stuff. It takes a lot, and even family members. Like it takes.
You're a lot to deal with.
And it's, you know, I say that now at the age of 35. It's taken me this long to realise that and not be like hurt about it and upset about it, because ultimately it is a part of who we are.
Yeah. So
if we go back to kind of the early-ish days with you. So how old were you when you first got nicked?
I think I was. How old was I? About 14.
And what was
15. That was. What was that for? That was like, I think that was for one of my friends' younger sisters was getting bullied at school, so we went down there and met him at the school. Yeah. Just like that, I got arrested. Didn't really care. Still do it again. You know, I've kind of been brought up in terms of I'm a bit of, I don't know whether it's like I'm a Leo. Or I've been, you know, mixed with being raised by boys. I'm kind of a bit feisty, but I've always kind of took to the underdog.
Yeah.
You know, I've always kind of people that are kind of, probably why I've had so many kind of trauma bonds and stuff in my life. You know, people that are struggling, or people that are the underdog, or people that are a bit different. My soul is like just immediately just drawn to them, and I attach them and want to help them or be their friend or try and help them. And and I got in a lot of problems with the police through having that kind of trait about me a lot of my life. And I never really, and I think, to be honest with you, at the age that I'm at now, I'm 32, I think that is something I've always struggled with. Because I think it's quite sad in a way. Now I've got a lot older, I see it from a different perspective in a way, and feel like that it's quite kind of sad that I actually feel like everybody else has got more of a value than me. Yeah. Which is sad, but I think that's because it comes from a place of trauma, maybe abandonment, things like that. You try and heal the parts of you that are not healed through trying to heal other people. I think that it's a gift that I have. Whether it be a detriment to me at certain points in my life, I still see it as an amazing gift, regardless, you know, even though the stuff that I've been through, to still be like that. So a lot of things make people bitter and kind of self-absorbed and selfish and stuff like that. I think that it's great that I'm not like that. Yeah. And I've always been like that.
Which is, you know, a testament to you, and it's also a testament to, like, the fact that, as you say, raised with 3 boys, and, you know, but you've still got that caring, loving side to you, which you don't really always get from boys, and you don't get from, like, the bigger brothers. You always kind of get the overprotective side of things, which is great, and I think it's a testament that when you fight, you're fighting for what you love and what you
believe in. Yeah. 1,000,000%.
And you know, and a lot of people don't get that. A lot of people don't. A lot of people fight to prove they're hard. A lot of people fight to just be knobs. Yeah. You know?
Or people see things about me and they think that I'm the scum of the earth or I'm a nasty person, but really it's like, that may be a bit bizarre reaction to you, but from that's how I've been brought up, and that's what I know. That is what I believe in. Nick Martelli. Yeah. You know, like that, when I went to prison my first time when I was 17.
Talk to me about that. I want to hear about that. For the reason, because this is probably my favourite story.
So I lived in this block. Yeah. And it was for like 16 to like 25-year-olds, and it was all a bit dysfunctional. Everyone, you know, it was like a big hostel thing, like studio flats. So everyone used to get on the piss all the time, and you know, you can imagine, but like uni without the education. But and then I'd gone to my mum's for the weekend, and I'd this was, oh God, it makes me feel so old, but it was quite a while ago now, 17. But so it was like I had this plasma in there, and they weren't really about back in my day, and no one really had much in there, and I had like a little party thing before I went away. Come back, someone kicked the door off and Nick Martelli. Looked on the cameras, saw who it was, and I just saw him, I just nutted him. Yeah. And I went away for it, whatever. And I know them clips have gone bloody viral, and I know, you know, some people think that see things and think that I'm the scum of the earth, but I just think, no, because I soon got it back, and he wouldn't do that again, would he? I know that that's, you know, in society's eyes, that's not the right way to deal with things, but that was what I knew. I got brought up with 3 older brothers, and they taught me you don't let no one take the piss, whether they're black, white, green, male, female, whatever. And that's kind of the lifestyle that I grew up in. So that's what happened with that. And there is a lot of people that don't like me for that, but then, you know, I'm not here for them.
Listen, somebody's going to find a reason to not like you.
Yeah.
And whatever it is, if you do something right, people will find a reason for it to be wrong.
Yeah.
So I
Why is it like that?
I think we living in that society now and that era of, especially now that we've got Instagram and social media.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah.
So it's ridiculous. But you went away.
Yeah.
How old were you?
It was the day before my 18th.
Okay.
So I woke up on my first day in there.
Were you in adult prison?
I went to juvie that day,
Yeah.
that night, because I was 17.
Yeah.
So I went to juvenile, and then when I woke up, it was my 18th birthday, and they moved me to the big main prison.
On your first, like on your
day.
18th birthday?
On my 18th birthday, I was shitting myself because I'm a baby.
Yeah.
Compared to all I'm thinking is these big grown lesbian serial killers.
Yeah.
That's all,
Yeah.
covered in tattoos and skinheads. That's all I'm thinking. You know, I watch Bad Girls, you've watched Bad Girls. I've watched Bad Girls. You know, I was a kid, that's all I'd watch, and I was scared to death. But then on the other hand, I thought, at least I'll get a fag, because you're not allowed no tobacco in. Obviously, juvie, I thought, all right, take the rough with the smooth. Yeah.
So then what happened? How was your first day then?
My first day was, it was okay. It was okay. You get put on like a temporary kind of like induction wing. That was pretty. It was really scary though, very intimidating.
Yeah.
But I just knew that, and also because it was my 18th birthday, I wasn't expecting to go away. So I'd gone to court in a little cocktail dress thing. I was going out that night. I've got a spray tan, all my nails in that done little dress. So I just, I did not look the part at all. So that was a little bit, I had people saying stuff like, oi, white girl, oi, pretty girl, oi, just things that was just like, yeah, it didn't really do me any good.
Were you scared?
I was a bit scared.
Yeah.
And I'd never really been scared before. But that was a whole different foreign environment to me that I'd felt extremely... I could have been on the streets when I was younger and I'd fight, get in fights with men or, we would have rows all the time or whatever and things like that. And that didn't scare me. But because this was a totally new environment, I was on my own.
Yeah.
And, and these are people that...
This is away from your support system.
Yeah.
This is away from your brothers. It's away from your mates. It's away from them people that it's one bad fight away from your mates being there and your brothers being there, isn't it? And then, like, now it's like, this is one bad fight away from me, like, on my own, get my head kicked in.
Yeah, and because I'd never been in that environment before, it's like, what do you say? What don't you say? Do you talk to people? Do you not? Do you be friendly? Or is that... going to be a risk for you? Do you not be friendly? So just honestly, I had no bloody idea. So I was just winging it. But luckily, I'm quite, I am quite friendly. I'm quite a likeable person. I'd like to think, I get along with everyone. So I was confident in that aspect that I don't think that I come across as... And this was quite a challenging part for me in terms of the whole prison experience, that I've always got along with everyone, everywhere I go. Whatever kind of walk of life people are from, I get along with them. But when I'd gone there, I found it that there was points that I was not liked just for me being me.
Yeah.
Without even people speaking to me. That really used to upset me. That really bothered me because that was something that I was really not used to. I was used to, I've got loads of friends. People always wanted to go out with me. Everyone wanted to talk to me and stuff like that. Or if people didn't like me, I knew why.
Yeah.
Whether I agreed or not, or other people agreed, I knew why they didn't. But this was a whole different environment where it was like, I wouldn't even know people and you could just be disliked just for being you. And I found that really upsetting, really hard to get your head around, because then I was constantly thinking, but why? Is it this? Is it that? Because you then don't know, do you? I think it's easier to kind of know.
And I think at 18 as well, like, you don't know anything.
No.
Like, you know nothing. And then to be in, as you say, a foreign environment, to be out of your comfort zone, to be away from your support system, to then have to deal with anger about, people don't like me.
Yeah.
For like no reason. She's never spoken to me before in my life. She hates me.
Yeah.
Like, it's this overwhelming sensation of like, shit.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? And like, I'm here. And how long were you doing then?
8 months. 8 months do 4.
Okay.
Yeah, but I got out on tags. So I got out early after 3,
Yeah.
That was related to the TV incident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then... So, I've done the same. No, I wouldn't have done the same, but you never know.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe
depends
to
when
not
you're in
that
the
extent, but
situation.
you're going to be fuming, aren't you? Anyone who's going to be
Yeah.
fuming, I just nutted him, and people may not nut him, but if you didn't...
Some people might strangle him.
Some people might strangle him, throw stones at him,
Yeah.
you know, call him names, but either way, you're going to be as angry as me.
Yeah, exactly.
So...
Exactly. I'm going to come to that in a little bit, though, because I think that's really relevant as well. So, you came out, 18, you done your 4 months or so, and, you know, on tag. What were you like then? When you came out then,
Yeah.
what was your mentality like? Had it changed, or were you still...
I was scared to death outside, yeah. It made me think, oh my God, I can't ever go back there.
Wow.
Yeah, seriously, I can't ever go back. I don't want to go back. And because I think it was because I was not expecting it as well, and it was my birthday. You know, it was, and I was young, and I wasn't expecting any of it. And then it was the whole. Then people didn't like me and things like that. It was the whole combination of it. I got out, and I was so wasn't expecting also to get out early, and I got out, and I just felt so grateful. And I thought, right, I need to get back in college. I need to get a job. I need to maintain it all, and great, yeah. And that was what I was doing, and then I was doing that.
Yeah.
For 2 years.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, it was going really well, and yeah, and then something quite traumatic happened when I was nearly 20, and then from that I was just drinking. I just lost it.
So, when that had happened, you kind of your thought process was less being scared about going back in. At that point, would you just...
To be honest with you, it wasn't about not being scared about going back in. That was not even something I considered. It was just, I just couldn't cope with being there.
Yeah.
I wasn't that I was like, willingly didn't care about like committing crimes. I was just a shell. I was just broken. So the keeping myself out of trouble in terms of going to work and staying away from people that wasn't good for me, and, you know, building the career and all this stuff that I was doing and that I really wanted to do and planned to do and was executing, just crumbled. And ultimately so did I. Yeah.
Yeah. So you, at this point is where, which I find so interesting, and I'm so glad that you brought this up, is because what we are made to believe, and when I say we, I mean me and everyone else that reads anything about you, hears anything about you, sees your podcasts, see all like that you've done with James and a few other people, is they think that you're a tough, hard girl that just fights all the time.
Yeah.
And as you say, you headbutted somebody who stole something from you.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, it happened.
Yeah.
You own that and you admit that. You did what you needed to do for it. The time you did, came out. You had 2 years of knowing what you wanted, getting your life together, focusing, being driven on the positive side of things. And it's really easy for everyone to go, she came out and she's a repeat offender, so she started battering someone else again and she was getting into fights, and she just... It's really easy for people to think that that's what happens, and especially when you're portrayed in a sort of certain way like
100%.
that. So to hear you say, like, no, like for 2 years, whether it's 2 years or 2 decades, it doesn't matter. Like, you had your focus on not going back in, and it's that simple.
And them 2 years was the first time in my, you know, I'm only 18, so that was the only 2 years out of my whole adolescent life that I'd ever been solely, fully committed to that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that was significant for me to really do that. And then people can judge me or think what they like, but you know, I done the best with what I knew and what I was given, and that wasn't much. And then when I got to that point when I'd went away, I realised, but being away and being smacked in the face with all the realising the life that I really didn't want. I then got out and chose to take accountability and take charge of you know, my life and where I wanted it to go. So I then started doing that. I then hit a serious traumatic situation that, due to childhood trauma, ADHD, you know, all of it, and just being human in the first place, it broke it ruined all of that. And sadly I didn't have the support, the skills, the knowledge, the ability, or anything to you know, understand that, what I'd gone through, and heal from that, rather than just go on an ultimate path of self-destruct and sabotage of myself and everything around me. Yeah, sadly, but we move.
Exactly. And so what happened then the second time then for you to get arrested, like after you'd kind of gone off a little bit, what happened then? What was the situation?
Was this the fire? So basically, I was in this block that we've discussed, and there was a guy that lived next door to me. He was cool. I thought he was cool, we was cool. I'd had a party where everyone used to have parties in there. I'd had a party, some stuff went missing. Some Ray-Bans, few bits. And I was told that he'd got them. It's about 5 a.m. I'm literally so drunk. I used to drink. I was really bad at the drink after this situation. Really traumatic situation had happened to me. I mean, I'm drinking in the morning. I'm drinking throughout the day. Like, I was never used to eat. Just drowning myself in alcohol to not be present for a single second to feel anything at all. And it was about 5 a.m. at this point. I'm drinking throughout the day, drinking throughout the night. And I watched back on the CCTV, and I've got like a pint glass filled with red wine, awful. Pint glass, not normal. I mean, I haven't got a steak there, you know. And I've got like a cowboy hat on. And I remember banging on his door, and he was talking to me, but didn't open the door. And I'm just talking through the letterbox, asking for the stuff back. I don't know, I think he was just started blanking me, and I thought he was blanking me. And I'm thinking, I must have thought like I need to get his attention. And then I just got some white spirit, put it on the letterbox, lit it, and the door's gone on fire, and then he's not come and opened the door. So I've then thought, all the things that crazy things that I must have thought, he's ignoring me, he's mucking me off, I'm drunk, this is another man taking advantage. All this stuff where I'm smashed off my head, been drinking all day for the trauma and the crazy belief system and all of that stuff. When he didn't come and open the door when that set on fire, I'd thought, shit, he's not awake. He's not ignoring me. So then I've ran back into my flat, got like saucepans, loads of stuff with water, ran next door, and I put it out. And I actually called the fire brigade. Crazy. But then I'd obviously got arrested, obviously, because it's on camera. I did start it. I then got arrested, and then I was in the police station. I got let out because the CID or whoever was running the case said that, this is clear that she's not tried to harm him. Don't know what's going on with her. She's clearly significantly troubled, but it's clear that she's not tried to harm him because it's all on camera. She's then put it out. So if someone is trying to harm him, you're not going to put it out. You're not going to do it all on camera. They said this girl doesn't need prison. This girl needs help. And then they let me out on bail while this is going through. And then when they let me out on bail, I just couldn't sleep. The PTSD of the situation and the worry of, I just up all night, just think about what could have happened and trying to understand how I'd got into such a mess of even doing something like that and the implications of what could have happened from it. And I went down to the police station every night for a week, different police station, one after, just begging them, because I was on tag. And so I was going to a different police station every night past the tag time. Saying I breached the tag, and I was, I needed to go to prison. I wanted to be in prison. I wanted to feel safe. I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel safe in the world. I didn't feel safe for myself. Any of it. I just felt scared, in fear, and worry, and I was losing my mind with it. And every single police station, I think it was about 8 days, and they kept saying no, because the minute you're on tag, even though the court had gave me the tag, it's then with the tag people then. It's then to a whole new different department. So even though I was with the box and it was past the curfew, unless they'd got an email kind of from the tag company saying she's breached her tag, they said, we can't arrest you. So I was going to another one another night, and I was doing it the next night, just waiting for it to flag up. And then I think it's like on the 8th day, I'd gone to one, and they said, yeah, we've got a warrant for you, Niah. I said yes. So then I went to prison, and I'd never felt a peace like it, sadly.
Sorry. So you were that much in a dark place.
Yeah.
On the outside. You purposely got yourself sent to prison.
Yeah. Yeah. Sad, yeah, it really was. But after that, I just felt like...
Did they not think to... It's a bit of a difficult one, I guess, but did they not think that this is deeper than... You're not a criminal. Like, in this situation, you're not then breaking the law as in going out and battering someone, going out and setting someone on fire and all that stuff. In this situation, you are literally... begging for your sanity.
Yeah.
And it didn't even occur to them to be like, let's get her some help.
No.
Just send her, just...
Yeah. No, they just go for procedure, don't they? And yeah, it was either that, and then I was like, okay, I could try and get myself sectioned, but then that's going to be a whole nother process, and that's hard to get out from.
Yeah.
You know, and I knew I just needed a break. I just needed peace. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't around people. Process how the hell this stuff has happened, how the hell I've got here in my life, and just not be safe from, feel safe myself, and feel that I'm safe in terms of, after the fire I felt an intense fear of what could have happened, and then I felt dangerous to myself and to other people, and that scared me to death. But people don't see you as a human being. You're a number. You're a case. It's not only as Niah needs help. It's give her a bit of a break. It's not. Sadly, it doesn't kind of work like that until you're kind of flagged up and something crazy does happen. Then it's like, right, we'll look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the second time like when you were in?
Second time, I felt great peace. Sadly, but I was there for 2 months, which wasn't enough.
Bloody hell.
It wasn't enough. I went to court for the arson, and the judge said the same thing. This girl clearly doesn't need prison. She needs help, and just let me. I needed to be in there. I needed trauma therapy. I needed to be sober. I needed therapy. I needed help. But they just looked at it as in, which was sweet in a way. They just looked at me as a young girl that's troubled, and let's not kind of punish her so much. But I needed to be looked at as, this girl needs hard, she needs to have it, she needs to be in a, how can I explain it, she needs to learn the hard way.
But do you think you did need to learn the hard way? It's really difficult to hear that because you were troubled. It wasn't you were traumatized.
Yeah.
You were traumatized, you were troubled, you were triggered.
Yeah.
You're all of these things. And do you think you needed to learn the hard way? Or do you think you needed them to go, listen, let's put her into therapy, let's do her into this, not let's start throw her in with a load of rapists and murderers.
I know. Ultimately I did need that. But then at the same time, I wasn't really going to get that out here, and if I was going to get that, it was going to be a lot more of a slower pace, and during that slower pace I would have been more of a risk to myself even when I was going through that, because I'd be drinking to deal with the emotions, or it would have been more detrimental and more risky. Whereas in there, it's hard, but you can go through them emotions and you're still safe. Other people are still safe, you're still safe, because it's when I'm behind that door and I'm going through them crazy emotions after therapy and stuff like that, I am safe. I can't drink myself into oblivion and act ridiculous. I can't put myself in vulnerable situations where I could get abused or feel triggered or threatened and attack someone, and sadly I think at that point so much had gone on in my life, that really was what I'd needed to grow, sadly. But I understand why they saw it from a different point of view, which was nice of them to view me from that point of view. But ultimately, that point of view was not gonna. I think I was too far gone in terms of the intense help that I'd needed and the intense loss of myself. That it needed to be strong and
So you lost yourself.
Yeah.
You went back in, got the peace that you needed.
Yeah.
It wasn't long enough, as you say, it wasn't long enough. You came out. Were you on tag again when you came out? after those 2 months?
No.
No. So then what happened? What was your life like then when you came out? Because you didn't have 2 months. Isn't a long enough time.
Wasn't long enough at all. No, I could not believe it. They'd let me out.
Really?
I could not believe it. I swear to God, I couldn't believe it. I remember I rang my mum when I'd got out of the court, and I said, Mum, my solicitor said to me, if you get more than 5 years, we're going to appeal. So when I've got to court, and they've gave me a 3-year community order, I could not believe it. I was expecting 5 years. That's 2.5 years in there.
Did you want that time?
I'd got my head around that time. I'd planned mentally all the stuff I was going to do in that time. I knew that I was going to utilise that time effectively, and I didn't want it, but I knew that I needed it. And I thought that was what was going to happen. And then I got let out. I remember ringing my mum, and I said, Mum, let me out. She went, no way, whose phone are you using? Where have you got this? Swear to God. And I said, Mum, I'm out. And I remember I had 2 big massive bags of stuff, because I got loads of all stuff sent in, because I was obviously not expecting to get out. And I remember I thought, shit, what do I do with all this? 2 big massive bags, brand new gear, I just binged it. And the first thing I'd done is went down the pub. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And no one could believe it. And my mum, I knew, even when I spoke to her on the phone, I could hear the worry in her voice. She was like, there's no way they've let you out. I said, they let me out, Mum. I couldn't believe it. He'd obviously just looked down at this young girl that's just, got a history of trauma, abuse and this and that, and seen the certain things, and just thought, oh, bless her. Let's give her a chance. But the chance that I had, I didn't have the ability to, and the skills and the knowledge and the therapies and to have that chance, and resources and stuff like that so limited. And when I was, it's a criminal offence, so ultimately when the court then release you, you're not, that's why they've got you, so you're not priority anymore. It's like, because that's the only reason why you've been brought to their attention, through the crime. So then sadly it's kind of like, yeah. And I was, nothing changed.
When you came out the first time, you said, I am not going back in there.
Yeah.
You were like, I'm not. 2 years straight.
Yeah.
Shit happened then that, changed a lot of things. Did you think the same thing when you came out? Like, I ain't going back in there, like, after the 2 months? Or were you like...
No, I didn't.
What was your thought process then?
I was just seriously traumatised by things. And I didn't really think much at all about anything, sadly. I was just drinking more and more, just to kind of avoid myself, block things out. And I had no self-worth, no care for my life, for my future.
How old were you then?
Anything really. I was 20. I think I was 20, yeah. Yeah, pretty sad.
For a 20-year-old girl, or for a 20-year-old anyone, but for a 20-year-old girl to feel that they've got no worth or value,
yeah,
it's so dangerous in this world.
100%.
Like, because there's a different path that girls can go down when they feel like that.
I know.
To numb a lot of stuff, and it's not just alcohol.
Yeah, I know.
And so first of all, a testament to you for that, for like,
Thank you.
that side of things, and I mean that, this could have been a whole different story.
I know, yeah.
So, you were doing something, you were stronger then than you realised.
Yeah.
Like, in that moment. So, kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
This is kudos. Who the hell am I?
Kudos!
So...
No, I do think like that sometimes, now I sit there sometimes and I think, bloody hell, where could this easily could have gone ways for me that I could never have, I wouldn't have come back from. So I am really, I've made some mistakes and I've done the best with what I knew, and I've done some things that can seem pretty wild, but I could have been a lot worse. I could not be here now. I could be into all sorts of crazy stuff that I've never gone down.
Yeah.
So, credit to me for getting through that and being who I am, regardless of what people agree with or they don't. I mean, I could have really, really gone a completely different way. So I'm proud for that.
I'm glad you are, and I'm glad you
Me
see
too.
it as well. I'm really, really glad you see that, because Yeah, it's a difficult world as it is.
Yeah.
Adding that to it. So I'm not going to dwell on this part too much, right?
Yeah.
But what I am going to say to you is the most infamous situation. Now, I've heard your side of the story, which I genuinely believe. I don't care. I believe. I've heard your side of the story.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, moving forward.
Straight.
Yeah. I've also read
Yeah. Me and all.
everyone else's version of events,
Yeah.
which, I'll be honest, don't make sense. So, do you want to share the situation of what happened when you ended up
12 years.
Yeah, doing your stretch.
Basically, I'm out with my friend. She's an absolute nightmare. Long story short, she slapped the guy. I'm in the toilet, didn't realise. Everyone's got thrown out. We've waited in the bar. It's kind of, they was outside the bar for them to kind of go. Waiting outside, called my friend. Someone's going to pick us up. We're sitting on this bench thing outside the bar. They've all come back from round the corner. I'm not thinking much of it because I wasn't there when they'd had an altercation. He's starting on my friend, whatever. I've stood in front. He's punched me 4 times. I'm tough. I've been raised by boys. I've been scrapping my whole life when I was younger, right? And so I'm taking the punches. On the 4th one, I felt my jaw click. When my jaw clicks, all I'm thinking is when he's hitting me is, Neah, you don't want to go to prison. Neah, you don't want to go back to prison. You don't want to go back to prison. But then on the 4th one, I felt my jaw click. I'm sorry, if he hits me one more time, he's swinging my jaw.
Yeah.
At that point, it's me or you. Yeah. So I've smashed him, hit him with my glass, smashed him in the head, hit him with the glass. He's knocked out. I'm then thinking, right. At that moment, then I thought, right, I can hear the police sirens. I thought, right, what do I do? Do I stay? Because he started on me.
Yeah.
Right? And then I thought, he's on the floor. I've been away. Shit, what do I do? Panicked, ran. The reason why I did get caught is because I messaged him on Instagram.
Well, this was the thing that killed me.
Painful. Absolutely painful.
Because it's something I would do. It's something I would do.
Even though he'd battered me.
Yeah.
Right? And I had no obligation, right,
Yeah.
to message him. I worried because that's the kind of person I am. I have got a heart, believe it or not, a really huge one, too big, right? So I found him on Instagram, messaged him and asked him if he's okay. He's then screenshot my whole profile, whatever, sent it to the police. This is the girl that attacked me with a bottle, when it was a glass that I'd had in my hand whilst he was attacking me. It was on CCTV, I'd left with it. The whole thing in court, you know, they just absolutely made this story that at points was just even factually, you can't. That is clear that that's wrong. And they made. I ended up. My legal team always told me to go not guilty. They said because this is clear self-defense.
Yeah.
He's attacked you. I remember looking at him and I said, I'm scared. I said, because I've got previous convictions. I said, because I'm scared they're going to ruin me at a trial. They said, Niah, this is clear self-defense. We're going not guilty the whole way. And I'll never forget it because I thought about every single day when I was away. And he looked at me and he went, trust me. And he shook my hand and I went not guilty the whole way. And I got found guilty with intent and I got 12 years. 12 years.
This is the part that equally blows my mind and equally pisses me off.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, I'm going to go back just a little bit. So that's what happened, which makes feasible sense. And this isn't me trying to excuse anything. This isn't me trying to condone violence and like, you know, whatever else. This is me saying, like, that's what happened. Like, me believing that's what happened. Right or wrong, as you always say. This is what happened. Your intention when you stood there getting lamped 4 times
For real,
was, I don't want to go back in, I don't want to go back in, I don't want to go back in. So at this point, you're allowing somebody to violate you and hit you 4 times. Right. And then when you do retaliate, because that's what it was, a retaliation. When you do retaliate, it's one situation. We all live in a world where we know one punch can kill someone. We get it, and you know, and whatever else, and that's something that's real. But you hit him with whatever was in your hand, the glass. What got me was then, even though there was cameras and CCTV and everything, what I read was as he lay unconscious on the floor, you continued to glass him in the face. the cameras know that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Why did the court think that happened?
Basically, because what had happened was I'd left the bar, and I'd left the bar with the glass, and I'm on the phone. That's why I'd left, because my friend said, I'm coming round the corner to pick you up. So then I've come, I'm sitting on the bench, they've come back from round the corner. He's hitting me, I've glassed him, he's dropped. But as he's hit me, I've got the phone in my hand for the person that's picking me up. So I've got the phone in my hand with the glass, and he's hit me. The phone's dropped, and then as I'm trying to defend myself. So then as the phone's dropped, he's hitting me, I've hit him with the glass, he's dropped. I'm looking around, and this is the bit that I even proved with the medical evidence to dispute this part. So he's dropped on the floor. I'm then looking around for my phone, because I'm then thinking, shit, where are they? He's on panicking, extremely panicking. So I'm looking around for things, looking around for my phone. I'm looking around for my phone and my things. Looking around for the phone. I see my phone, it's broke. There's a bit over there and a bit over there. So I've gone over, I've picked up that part of my phone, I've picked up the other part. It's broke, I'm fuming, I've chucked it. I've chucked it towards him.
Yeah.
I never went over, I was like,
Yeah.
It's a phone, it's battered. I'm panicking. I'm looking around, where's my phone, where are they? Ultimately, you would. You've just been battered.
Yeah.
Someone's supposed to be coming to pick you up. I'm raging with them. Why are you not here? Looking around for the phone. The phone's fucked up through the phone. They've then said I've then glassed him again when he's on the floor. So I've then made my legal team, we have gone back through the whole CCTV of that night, right, to see if I've hit him with a glass, and the glass, I had all stitches in my hand, the glass has disintegrated, smashed entirely in my hand when I've hit him with the glass. Okay, so that glass is gone. So the point then I was trying to prove was, if I've then glassed him again when he's on the floor, and no, we need to watch that whole CCTV back of that night to see where that other glass has come from then, because you're not allowed, no one's allowed to leave the bar with glasses, and the only person that left with a glass was me. So that one glass is not going to disintegrate all in my hand when I've smashed in my hand, hit him with it, and then I'm then going to pick one up from over there to then go back, where's that come from? Make it make sense, okay? And then also, if I've then done that when he's on the floor, and he had a 3 centimetre slice there on his forehead, and if he's on the floor and I've then done it, that's not going to be a slice, that's going to be a wound. Yeah. But then the medical evidence, there was no wounds. So make it make fucking sense. It could not be made sense at all, but I still got 12 years. And they put it all in the paper, saying all that, when it's absolute bollocks.
There was another thing.
Sorry the swearing, but I'm really passionate about it.
There's another thing that I just want to call out on that as well, is when I was doing my research, I ain't a journalist. I always have to say this thing, I ain't a journalist, but I do my research. Right, I remember keep seeing headlines saying he was screaming as he lay unconscious. And I just remember seeing these headlines going, he was screaming as he lay unconscious.
Yeah.
Listen, I ain't a forensic scientist. I ain't like a CID. I ain't all that stuff, and I'm not trying to pretend to be or whatever else. But I have common sense, and if somebody's unconscious, they're not
screaming. Yeah.
So, Mirror and the rest of them, News of the World or whatever bullshit, and the Sun.
Yeah.
Get a better journalist.
Yeah, exactly. And also with the being unconscious thing, because obviously me and my legal team, we've watched that. When they're saying that I've glassed him again, and that's intent, right? So that's going to add years on. So I'm like, I know that didn't happen. So we go, and my legal team said, no, we're going not guilty the whole way. This is clear self-defense. So we're going over and over the CCTV, trying to prove now how that could not be possible. We then discovered during that when he was hitting me, I've hit him with the glass. His girlfriend was behind him. She pulled him by the hood when I've hit him with the glass. That's when he's dropping on the floor. That's what made him unconscious. So it wasn't even me hitting him with the glass that had made him unconscious. But it was glasses unconscious man that I've made unconscious. Yeah, absolutely wild, yeah.
So, first of all, we know that the news outlets and media talk shit anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
But let's go back to then the court. So, so you've got not guilty, and as you say, that's something that you've thought of every single day when you were inside, like you couldn't believe that happened.
Yeah.
When they said the guilty, did you get then your time straight away? Did you get told what you were doing?
No, a month later.
So how long genuinely did you think you were going to get?
No more than 8.
Okay.
Because I was told that it was in a category 2, which is
Yeah.
5 to 9. I was told that I would, when I'd been found guilty, I was told that I wouldn't get the least because I got previous convictions, but I wouldn't get the max because of the circumstance that he'd attacked me. And then, but that what they needed was the judge wanted a assessment. It's like a level of dangerousness assessment done by your probation, that can determine, you know, how long you get, right, you know, can add to it. My probation done a report saying Niah's not dangerous. This was clear self-defence. She's been through some traumatic experiences in her life, and she done what anyone kind of basically would. They had my back the whole way on it. And when it had got to court and the judge read that, their exact words, that report is absolutely ridiculous. I'm not taking any of that into account. I'm now putting this in a category 1, 15 to 19 years on that day. I'm like that, looking behind me, thinking there's got to be someone behind me. You can't be talking to me, surely.
Yeah.
They went, and then she said, but because the injuries weren't serious, I'm going to give you 12 years. I thought, I don't know how you can say that in the same breath. I then went mad in the court. I've had an absolute breakdown. I said, he battered me. You kill people and get less than that. I've got down to the cells, and my solicitor said, if you'd have killed him, if you'd have died, I could have got you 10 years for manslaughter.
It blows my mind, mate. It blows my mind that is the justice system, that's what they think.
Yeah.
A young girl who has been attacked by a guy, or anyone, full stop, has been attacked, and there's proof, there's statements, there's this, there's all that shit, all those facts that they've got, and then they turn around and go, you are more of a threat to society than a paedophile.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are more dangerous to our society than somebody who molests babies.
Yeah. Yeah. And that makes me feel sick.
That is why I get pissed off at stuff like this.
Me too, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But, you know, ultimately, I do sometimes believe it's potluck. So, like,
so
you
do
get
I.
a knob of a judge.
Yeah, I believe that. Most definitely. Definitely, because the judge, that day, my barrister actually said she was fairly new to being a judge, but she was a prosecution before. And because he said to me, there's journalists in the courtroom. I said, why is there journalists in the courtroom? He said, she's pretty new at going from prosecution to a judge, and basically be scared. She's trying to make a name here. So she used me as an example. Yeah, I was just to get her name in the. I don't know.
Yeah, to prove her bollocks.
Yeah. And unfortunately, she done that via using me.
You were collateral in that. You were collateral damage and all of that. But was he in court?
Yeah. And his girlfriend was in court. She was the number one eyewitness. She come and stood in court, and she was saying exactly what I was saying. And then, but because she was a witness for him, they basically said, we want to get rid of her because she's going against the prosecution's case. But all she was doing was telling the truth, and it was. But that was a detriment. That made me look honest.
Yeah.
But they didn't like that. Yeah, so it was really messed up. The whole thing. I knew the system was messed up, but not until this did I really see the extent that people actually go. I was sitting there at points looking around the courtroom at all these professional, people that have been to uni for all these years, and this is a really, credible job. I assumed, and I was looking at all these people, and I was thinking, you're actually doing everything you can to ruin my young life, knowing it's wrong. Yeah. Knowing by the medical evidence, knowing by no other glass left that place, knowing it's absolute lies, you are going out of your way to ruin me. I honestly could not believe it.
Do you know what that is?
No.
It's something that you said earlier. They just didn't like the look of it. People just didn't like it.
No.
And, it's you sit there and look at these people, and then they'll either like you.
Yeah.
Or they won't like you.
Yeah, and they bloody didn't.
They just didn't like you.
How bad is that? How can you do that?
Yeah, it's shit. It's a joke. That whole system there just goes to show why people feel the way that they do.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff is like covered up with that. So Fuck them.
Yeah.
so you go straight down there and then
Yeah.
to start serving time.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
Oh God. Honestly, I'll never forget how I felt. Never will I ever forget that feeling. I remember being in that courtroom and she was saying it, and it was like, you know, like you see on TV, it was like a blur. It was like the whole room was spinning. And it just felt like, and then I remember just screaming, and I was just screaming, pacing around this little cell, pacing round and round and round. And I can't even put into words how I felt. I can feel it.
I can see.
But I could never, I don't know. It was just shock.
And how old were you then? 22?
23.
23.
Mm.
So you're 23 years old. You're being told then that you've got 12 years to serve.
So, no, I had to do like 6.5.
6.5.
So all I'm saying to myself is 30. I'm getting out when I'm 30. Like, and I know 30 is young now because we're in our 30. But back then, like 22, 23.
You're losing all your 20s.
Yeah. And I'm thinking 30 for what? Hitting someone back once for battering me. And I've got to lose all my 20s for that. I just could not believe it. And it just felt so, you know, when you're young, it feels so old, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's grown up. You're young then. And then getting out in your 30s, it's like you're an adult now.
Yeah.
So I'm missing that whole point of growth and having to come out and coming out at this point, but without all that growth. And I'm going to be like, kind of, you know, a bit lost in good terms of like who I am, where I'm at. I was initially at first. It was a bit like, you know, didn't want to hold on to who I was, but then didn't really know who I am because I haven't been able to grow. Really bizarre, really bizarre.
You know, I think the thing to take into account here is there are people out here that will sit there and go, when I was 23, I was like a teacher and I was doing law degrees and blah, blah. Great. Well done. Like, fantastic.
Love
brilliant.
that for you.
That's fantastic for you. But, like, you'd already had parts of your life taken away anyway.
Yeah.
So you had already, and people can say whether it's your fault or not, listen, whatever, but you'd already had those parts taken away. So at 23, when you are now trying to get your shit together, trying to get your life together, like, you'd had a traumatic event that happened in your life which sent you into a completely different direction anyway. You then do a couple of months here, a few months there, and, you know, in prison and all of this stuff. Like, you're not going to know who you are at this point.
For sure.
Because you're still young. You're still, like, you've still got this few years that you need to find out who you are. So you go into, where did you go to?
Where did I go? Holloway.
Holloway.
Started in Holloway, yeah.
Lovely. So,
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story about Holloway afterwards. So you then you go there, 23, completely like shell shocked. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Like completely like shell shocked by it. Like, what was your mentality of getting through those like 6.5 years and stuff?
I couldn't even comprehend them for about a year. Yeah, I couldn't.
For a year?
Yeah, maybe 2. I couldn't. I was counting every single day and the next day. People would take the mic. They'd say, Neah, how long you got left? I go 5 years, 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days. Every single day. And every time I heard a key, I would think that they was coming to unlock me. That they was coming to let me out. Because I knew that I knew I never done what they said I'd done. I knew I didn't deserve to be there. So I could not even comprehend planning on how I was going to get through it. Yeah. Because the thought of even having to do it was not something I felt that I deserved or could even accept.
Yeah.
So I was just like very bitter, very angry, very kind of maybe a bit delusional over it all for a good while.
So, say a couple of years in, you kind of did you accept it, or then were you like?
I then accepted it because I went for an appeal.
Yeah. And
the appeal got rejected. I then had to pay private to appeal again. Finally got it to an appeal court, and my representation that I was looking researching.
Tell us that story.
Yeah, I was looking for like representation that was really good on appeals and like women's justice and all of that. Found one, pushing, got rejected, and then if you get rejected the first time, on your second appeal you can get more time. So not a lot of people apply again. But I'm like, no, fuck that. I'm appealing again because I never done that and I don't deserve this time. So yeah, risk it. Let's do it. So I finally got to appeal court and the representation didn't turn up. I couldn't find him anywhere. He was like non-existent. Firm didn't exist. Any of it, you can't make it up. That then was when the penny dropped. And I thought, Niah, there's a reason that you're meant to be here for all these years, even if it doesn't make sense now, one day it's going to, and you've just got to accept these are the cards that you've been dealt. Not everything does come out in the wash, and now it's time for me to take responsibility of how my story's going to end, ultimately. So yeah, and that's just what I worked on from there.
So you were, this was when your thought process changed. Like, this is when it was, and you know, everyone says that there's a moment in your life when, as you say, the penny drops, the light bulb comes on, you know, the realisation hits you. Like there's a part in everyone's life, whether it's in early life, later life, whatever it is, everybody remembers that moment.
Right,
and that was your moment. That was your moment where you went, this is shit.
Yeah.
This is really shit.
Yeah.
And you cannot allow yourself now, when you know this, when you hit that realisation, you go left or right.
Yeah.
Like it's that.
Exactly, that's where it was.
That situation for you, isn't it? It's like, you know, and not a lot of people get that in jail, don't get me wrong, not a lot of people. It's not like you have to go sent to jail for people to get that.
Yeah, of course.
So when people aren't in jail and they have that moment, there's a lot more options open for them to decide what they can do in their life.
Yeah.
When someone's in jail and they go left or right, it ain't as simple as like left, this many options, right, this many options. It's like I either fuck up even more in here, or I make the most of this, learn from it, grow from it, and become better with it.
Yeah.
And it's clear that's what you've been doing. It was very, very clear. So I only want to touch on a couple of things on that, because this isn't about like your time in prison and you in prison and this, that and the other. Like, this is about people's mentality and your strength and your mentality in this. However, there is one thing that I feel that everyone needs to hear again and again. So you happen to one day be banged up. Well, not one day.
I wish.
More than one day. You happened to be banged up, and you were banged up with some pretty wrong uns.
Oh God, yeah.
You were banged up with some right wrong uns, and
yeah, I was.
You happened to be banged up with a. I don't think she ain't a lady. You happened to be banged up with a woman, an animal.
An animal, yeah, I was. And this was in the point where I was in my first. I was in Holloway, and Holloway shut down, but after 7 months in. And they put me on the lifer wing. And this is when I'm on the fuck the world shit still. And they put me on there with the absolute scum of the earth. And me being like, you know, like we were saying earlier, I look up for the underdog, and, you know, I believe in what's right and what's wrong, you know, and I'm very strong in that, even if I've got my ways that people may not agree with. I know my heart is pure.
Yeah.
And then I was on there with some really bad low life paedophiles, scum, and I just battered her.
Who was it?
Marie Raisin. She's like
She a nursery nurse?
No, she's like a babysitter.
Right.
Babysitter, and she's like sending all pictures and that online to other people, and vile piece of work she was. And I got another 6 months for that.
Did you?
Yeah. But I didn't give a shit. I went to court. I said, yeah, I done it. Yeah, I done it because she's a sex offender. No, I show no remorse. No. You know.
I love the fact that for everything else you've done, you show remorse.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, no, one single bit. And I don't care what anyone says. No, I don't.
Yeah.
No, I never will. People say, yeah, I don't condone violence. Neither do I, but in some circumstances I do.
Yeah.
And that's it. I done that for. I've been a vulnerable child that's had to grow up with and live through adult life with trauma that you don't understand. You know, I've done that for the children that are going to live their life. This one of them was a 9-month-old baby. She's not going to be able to have children or anything, apparently. 9-month-old girl, right? I done that for that girl. I done that for the children whose lives are fucked before it's even started. They're going to be traumatised kids, traumatised teenagers. you know, traumatized adults, all the relationships are going to be fun, all of that. I've done that for them, I've done that for the parents, I've done that for everyone that couldn't do it, because, you know, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And, you know, I was there and I didn't believe why I was there, and the time that I was there was wrong, but I believe doing that during that time was right. Yeah, and I drink to that all day long.
And me. And give a fuck.
Yeah.
I don't care. I genuinely don't. Listen,
You know?
whether I condone violence or not.
Yeah.
And listen, and also, I've never once sat here and said I don't condone violence. So, listen, and there's probably people watching this going, if he dare says he doesn't condone violence. I'm telling you that. So but I also, listen, like, you have not attacked somebody, that's the wrong word. You have retaliated to somebody in self-defense.
Yeah.
And whatever's happened has happened. And that's one thing. But then when you're put on a wing with scum and dirty, vile scumbags, which is what they are.
Yeah.
And you're expected to, because they're protected.
They are protected, yeah.
They're so protected in there.
Yeah, it's vile, yeah.
And like, you're expected to be like, this smug cow comes along.
Yeah.
And, you know, how's that not going to trigger you? How's that not going to trigger somebody who hasn't been through trauma?
Well, exactly.
How is that not going to trigger someone to be like, that could be my niece, my daughter,
Yeah.
like anything?
And it does trigger people. But I think in terms of when it's in prison, a lot of people are scared and upset that they're in prison, that they won't kind of retaliate to them kind of people. But because I felt so hard done by it, and I was so bitter as to why I was in prison, and didn't feel like I deserved it, I didn't give a shit about causing ag in there or getting longer time or anything, because I was so bitter as to why I was even there. Whereas other people, you know, they can get triggered, but then feel like, oh, I'm scared, I want to get out, I shouldn't be here. Do you know what I mean? Whereas we're just not the same.
Yeah. So she battered her, and there's a reason I wanted that story to be out there, because I love hearing it every single fucking time. Battered and nonce, and it makes me feel like there are good things that come out of prison when people are in there. Yeah, straight.
And I think, and the thing is, it's like, I'm very open with that story. Some people would still say that shouldn't have happened, but I'm very open and honest. Whether you agree or you don't, I know my truth and I stick by it to the end, and I don't give a shit I am my team.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not bothered. So it's like, if I'm gonna, and I've done all the time of all of it, wouldn't you just admit it now?
Yeah.
If you'd, you know, if I'd have done, if that was all true or whatever, like, you know, I could have got out potentially after 4 years on a day release if I'd accepted what the Crown found me guilty of. But I would never accept it. You know, I'd do the longer time. Like, I just think people need to give their head a little bit of a wobble sometimes and just think a little bit about morally what is right. You know, it's like, yeah, in the eyes of the law, I shouldn't have done that to the paedophile or whatever, but, you know, fuck the law.
You know, the paedophile shouldn't have done that in the eyes of the law anyway.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. And she got 6 years.
Well, this is what... Right, listen. Who's in charge? Margaret Thatcher. Who's in charge of our country? Rishi Sunak. Listen to this. 6 years for a paedophile.
And I got 12.
12 for lamping someone because he was hitting her.
Do you know what I mean? But do you know what I've heard? I've heard that them up top, they keep the paedophilia, they keep the sex offenders' sentences down low, because apparently a big, vast majority of them are actually paedophiles, so they keep it down in case they ever get caught. I don't know how true that is.
Probably very, very.
But I've heard that that's true, and I've heard that violent offending is always a lot higher because they're at risk of violent offending. I swear to God, this is what I've heard many times. And a lot of them, like popes, aren't they, priests? A lot of them up there are a lot of them are in like paedophile rings and shit like that. Yeah, so that's why it's kept down low. Because I don't know. If that's not true, make it make sense as to why then.
Yeah, exactly.
Because anyone with any kind of moral compass is going to want to see them kind of people burnt at a stake, if not rot away for forever. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
What gives them a right to... Because these people, this is embedded. They really affect... you know, why... you just can't make it make sense. It's vile.
No, but but just from me, and I can say this. Listen, this is from me. I ain't speaking for the world. I ain't speaking for the population. I ain't speaking for the gays. I ain't speaking for. I'm speaking for me. Before everyone starts painting me with a brush with everyone else and every other group that I fit into, I'm speaking for me. Like I can't find a reason to find that that's a bad thing that you've done. Beating up a sex offender. So there you go. Right, but we'll move on from that. I just wanted to hear that story because it made my day. But moving on from that, so let's talk about it. So how long then, so when you realise that, you know, what your time's coming up to be done inside, what was your mentality then?
I became relentless then. My mentality was, I need to get better, do better, be better in every single way, every day as much as I can. And get to the real, you know, tear myself apart bit by bit, layer by layer, every character trait I had, every trauma I'd been through, everything I'd done, everything I'd seen, you know, and just peel it apart bit by bit, and accept, you know, just really accept the things that I'd been through, the places that I'd been, the thought process, the behaviours that it'd give me, and just strip it all back, understand, recognise where it had all come from, and try and figure out if they, you know, really resonated with my core beliefs and my values, if them ways empowered me, and if they didn't, then, you know, work on just abolishing them and replacing them with ones that did. And I became relentless on that journey for the next 2.5 years through that, and I'm really proud of how far I come.
Did you lose a lot of friends?
Yeah, it was really lonely in there, because it's like, it was hard because it was a battle between the person that I was kept me safe in there.
Yeah.
The person that I was kept me respected and protected in there. The person that I wanted to be and that I needed to be and that I wanted to be didn't fit in there. So it was hard. So it was a journey in terms of trying to be that person, but I was like, it was half-hearted, because I had to go back and forth to, I need to protect myself, so I need to be like that. I need to be, still need to be respected, so I need to be like that. And it was hard, but then the more I'd done that, you know, I'm honest with myself, you know, and I was getting angry with myself in terms of, I knew that I could have done better, and I knew that I could do more, but then I was scared of the implications of how that would be for me in there, being solely committed on that journey. Because it was like I was losing people. I was becoming lonely, and, you know, I didn't really know where I fit in, you know, and stuff like that. And then we went into COVID, which made it easier for me, because then, you know, I wasn't around people. We never got out much, and then it was like, it was easier in the way of that sense, but harder in terms of I couldn't avoid things anymore. Like when things were getting really hard, and the journey that I was going, like the self, you know, finding myself, healing journey that I was on, it was a lot harder in terms of I couldn't just distract myself by going somewhere or seeing someone. It was really, really hard. But I believe the greatest things come from rock bottom, and I wouldn't be as well-rounded as I was when I got out, and as, you know, as I've built from, without really facing it entirely all day, every day. So yeah, and that's what I've done.
Do you think you're self-aware?
I think I'm extremely self-aware. Yeah.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. Yeah.
Who are you? Like who are you now? Like from the childhood, from the early upbringings to the tough upbringings to the brothers to the early days of scrapping, to like the jail time, to the trauma, to the stretch, to now. Like who do you think you are now? Like who are you as a person?
I think I'm very wise. I think I'm very wise. I think I'm very empowering. I like to think I'm quite inspiring. And I just want chill, and I get great joy out of, you know, helping other people, making other people smile, trying to help other people cultivate, you know, a mindset to see challenges and setbacks as opportunities for growth and personal development, instead of, you know, seeing them as a detriment, you know, to their life, or flaws because they've been through shit, or, you know, it means that they're less of a person, or can have less of a, you know, less deserving of things. I like to think that I'm fun, I'm happy, I like to think I'm a great person.
Yeah.
For sure, I do, definitely.
I think it's really disappointing in today's world that people are very quick to throw someone away when they do something wrong.
Yeah.
They're very quick to go, she must be a violent thug. She must be like no morals, kind of nothing about her, doesn't care about anyone, sits here, says that she did this, did this. But what they're missing is the fact that you're owning it and you're saying, yeah, I did it. I ain't sitting here and glorifying it and saying that what I did was like makes me a legend.
No way.
There's a whole difference there, and I think it's a shame that we that we put people in those boxes and we're really quick to throw them away. The reason I wanted to meet with you and talk with you is because when I have watched you, never once have you said, well, it wasn't my fault, and this wasn't this, and this was, and I didn't, and it's always like, I did it.
Yeah.
I now, looking back, know the reasons I did it.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, I know the reasons. And it takes somebody who is very self-aware to be able to go, listen, I deserved this time, and I deserved, to be locked up.
Yeah.
At certain, maybe not for as long.
Yeah.
But I definitely deserved to have done it, because otherwise I was just going to go off the rails 100%. Even more so.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot for that, and I think that, like, you remind me of me. Right.
I love that. Is it the tan?
Yes. It's this tan. You remind me of me in a way that we will always be the villain in everyone's story.
Yeah.
We'll always be the villain, and I'd rather be the villain than be the victim.
Yeah.
In a story.
Yeah.
And I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
Listen,
me too.
I'll be the biggest villain you want me to be.
Yeah.
I will be the evil stepmother.
Yeah.
I will be whoever. Cruella de Vil. It makes no difference to me.
Yeah.
Because as long as I'm living my authentic life.
Yeah.
And being honest to me.
Exactly.
And I am not trying to pretend to be something that I'm not.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get better every single day.
Exactly.
I'm on a journey that's trying to get better.
Unapologetically authentic,
I see that in you when you go, I am on a journey. I'm not there yet.
No, yeah.
But every day I'm trying to get better. And don't for a second get me wrong. There are people that push my buttons to get me to the old Ashley.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you this now recently, right, I have never been as close
really
to me going back to old Ashley as I was. Like, I was about to, like, when someone slanders my name, and when someone comes at me, listen, I said to you before, there are plenty of people out there that don't like me. Love it, thank you, crack on. But when somebody is pushing me to that limit and to that next level, like, I had to look at myself recently, only the past couple of months, and I had to say, oh, you or me, like, you or me, because I was at the point of wanting to, this bloke, I was wanting to cut off his man bun and fucking set fire to his scalp.
Really?
Like, I was, now I've just given away who that is, but like, I was, I was, oh well, I hope you see this, but and people push you to that limit, but people don't realise how much it takes for you not to do that.
Yeah, I know.
How easy it is for me to go up to
doing
that
it's the easy part.
And do that.
Yeah.
How easy it is for me. I was sitting there, like, one day I was sitting there going, I am going to go to his house.
Yeah.
I'm just burning his house down. I was just going, I'm going to burn his car. I'm going to set fire to his car.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to drown him in his kitchen sink.
Yeah.
Like, I was properly, like, going for it. I'm not glorifying violence in this respect, but that's where my mind was going to the extreme. And I had to have conversations with myself. Yeah. And be like, nah.
No, it's not worth it.
Because actually, you ain't a kid
You're
no
better
more.
than that.
You
Don't
ain't
do
a kid.
it. Yeah.
You do this, you are ruining everything for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
There's no ifs or buts. You're 35 now, mate. You do something like this, you get 10, 12 years.
You're finished.
Yeah. Like, what am I ever going to do?
It.
And so I get when you sit there and people are going, oh, she's glorifying this and she's talking. They don't realise how hard it is for you not to do that.
Yeah, 100%.
And, you've been very open and honest and candid about ADHD.
Yeah.
And, same here. like it almost rules my life.
Same.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
And we talk about, you know, it ruins relationships, it ruins friendships, it does this and everything else. And it's taken a lot for me to realise that now and not think that there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
And the world's against me and it, you know, no one understands me.
Yeah.
And I see this in you. And every time you speak and every time you tell a story and every time you talk about it, it's always about the journey with you. And I believe your journey is like just beginning and it's going to flourish. What is next for you? So I call this passing the crown.
Love it. I literally love it.
So this is passing the crown, and the reason I call it passing the crown is I always say I'll only have guests on here that I genuinely feel I'll get something from and that add value to my life.
So
the fact that you sat there and you thought that at one point you didn't bring value to anything or you were no value, believe me, you bring value to people's lives.
Oh, thank you.
And that's why I wanted you here. So what advice are you going to give to the next little fiery little Essex girl that, you know, raised by brothers?
Yeah.
Pretty much raised by wolves. And, you know,
literally.
What advice are you going to give to that girl who's in that environment, who's in that situation that has the left or the right opportunity?
Yeah. Just I don't know, let me think. Just that you're okay. You're going to be okay. So just, you know, just keep at it. Just don't, you know, just love yourself. And just to keep at it, get a vision, hold on to the vision, and just love yourself, and just know that you have worth, you have value, even if you don't see it or feel it at that time. Believe me, you do. And just keep believing in yourself, and just follow them dreams, and never forget. I think we've all got, you know, that young girl or boy inside of us that, you know, that inner child that needs a little hug, you know. So just take time and just put yourself first, and that's one thing that I've never done. And you know, I now embrace it, but I've never put myself first. I always put everyone else before me, and ultimately, even though I don't, you know, even though at the time there's always been methods behind my madness, my heart was always pure. It was always to protect someone or to protect something else. But then ultimately, through all of that, who was protecting me? No one. So I just think, you know, just put yourself first, love yourself, put yourself first, and just take time, and just, everything's going to be okay. Yeah, and just trust that. Just trust in the journey. Trust that you're safe, and yeah, and just follow them dreams, girl.
Absolutely. What's next for you?
Next, I've just started a YouTube channel, Neah Inspired. So I'm running a panel. I'm doing like podcast interviews. I'm going to be doing like this, and I'm running a series alongside it called It's a Girl's World. So what I'm going to be doing with It's a Girl's World is I'm doing it's like panels. So we're going to be talking about like all different topics. So that's like a normal panel. And I'm also doing like a HMP It's a Girl's World panel with girls that I've been away with talking about prison stuff. So 1 month it's going to be like normal, like I've got like an influencer friend and another friend that I'm helping with her brand. So we're going to be doing that together. Then I'm doing the HMP It's a Girl's World panel, talking about all stuff from in prison, memories, like reform, like what works, what doesn't, all stuff like that. I'm also going into like public speaking, so I done a talk a couple of weeks ago on, it's actually called When the Penny Drops. So it's that moment there. I've done that talk on accountability, and stuff like that. I'm looking to get into like women's institutes, so like domestic violence. I'm looking to get into. I'm actually planning with St Giles Trust at the moment an online talk I'm going to do to youths on like youth violence with dysfunctional teenagers, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just trying to create a movement out here. Neah Inspired, inspire, educate, motivate, and empower. And yeah, and that's what I'm here for. So I love it. So follow the YouTube and the Instagram. We can
find you Neah Inspired, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah. And we're here for it.
Neah Inspired, Neah.
Yeah.
Inspired. Don't ask me to spell inspired. But Neah Inspired. Follow her. So one last thing is, I always like to give people something.
Oh, okay.
Not a crown, because it cost me a fortune.
We can't take yours, son.
No, it cost me an absolute fortune. So I always like to give something meaningful. So I have something meaningful for you.
Oh, cute.
And this is yours.
Oh.
I'm going to obviously open it now.
I love
it. On the
it.
spot.
Gifts, presents. It's all them Christmases I missed in the summer.
Yeah, it's a dorky.
Oh, I love it.
So.
Oh, I love
it.
it.
Crown mug.
It's in the crown mug.
And then on the back, if you just want to read what it says.
Oh my God, you're fucking joking me.
My favourite saying, which made me fall in love
I'm
with you.
dying. Someone sneak me fucking telly and name. Neah Inspired.
So yeah.
Stop. Oh my God, I could cry. I fucking love it.
So yeah. If you ever get bloody set down again, take that with you. All
There
right?
won't be no red wine in here.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
No, it's alright.
With Ashley Peddie. I love it.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
I'm glad you like it.
I love it.
I'm so excited for what's next to come for you.
Oh, thank you. Me
I
too.
adore you. I think you're great, and
Oh,
I think
thank
that you
you.
have a way with the haters that is so commendable. And I'm just so looking forward and excited to see what you and your big heart and that you just radiate joy. And love.
Thank you. I love
You
that.
are a role model.
Do you
Believe
think?
me, you are a role model for people who have done wrong, admitted it, and want to change. And so, what more can we ask for?
Yeah.
No one's perfect.
Exactly,
So,
right?
I look forward to seeing you next time.
Yeah, let's do it. Thank
so
you for
much.
having me.
And for everyone else, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I never do this at the end of it. This is my first time doing this. I usually go, right, bye, see ya, and run out the door. But I should say like, comment, subscribe. See, it's perfect.
It's the teeth.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Said that 3 times now. But I will see you next time. Thank you once again to the beautiful Neah Inspired.
Thank you for
And
having
to all
me.
of you watching, I really, really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to you slagging me off in the comments. So thank
And
you.
me.
Thank you. Right,